our next category is the Honorary Professor title. So we continue with honouring the most deserving individuals with the Honorary Professorship of the Academic Union in Business and Economy category. Today, we are glad to honour outstanding individuals for participating in the development of comprehensive programmes to enhance the investment attractiveness of their regions, the development of business and national economies. The title Honorary Professor of the Academic Union Oxford is presented to Manoj Kumar, who is the founder and managing partner of Hammurabi and Solomon Partners from India. And I believe we have Mr. Kumar with us today, and he has also agreed to answer a few questions that I'm going to put to him. Hello, Mr. Kumar. Well, Mr. Kumar, you are a founder of Hammurabi and Solomon and Partners, so no one will know better than you. Does your business have a story to tell?
Well, first of all, thank you, Harris, for having me here and for continuing with this encouragement through the pandemic. I was hearing the other achievers as well. Things have not been too well for most of us, but you being there makes a lot of us be on our toes and continue to perform. Having said that, yes, in fact, we do have a story to tell, and our name Hammurabi and Solomon Partners by itself is identified with our story. Our story, we started in 2001, is about our goal to ensure that development and justice should result in rule of law. In our view, achieving rule of law, which is the very cornerstone of our constitution and most constitutions around the globe, cannot be achieved without the right calibration between the development needs of a nation or a society and also ensuring justice to every level of the society. So when we started our firm, when the firm was founded in 2001, we decided that we will go on a slightly different route than the traditional ways of practicing law in terms of statutes and advisory and court. Of course, we do all of that, but our approach is different. We always try to find solutions which falls within the meeting point of development and justice. What has this done to us? We are now looked upon as an organization which finds solutions which is acceptable to all stakeholders. It has given us a chance to go beyond the obvious means of practicing law into the domains of policy making, formulation of development agendas of the country, and in some cases, development agendas of the region in energy and environment space. It has given us a chance to handle some of the very difficult, contentious geopolitical issues, for example, between India and Russia on a certain incident around a very holy book of ours, Bhagavad Gita, which was declared by a local court in Russia as a book which signifies terrorism, which obviously has been much more geopolitical implications than just a judgment of a lower court. So we're being called upon to assist in solving problems. So these are just instances. We have gone way and beyond as a firm, and we are now looked upon as an organization which has a very holistic approach of practice, and where we are able to solve problems in a way which answer not only legal but also economic and development needs. Our clients, therefore, are way beyond just the usual companies. We have government organizations and government bodies within India. We have foreign governments as our clients outside of India. We have think tanks with whom we work very closely in our stated goal that I just mentioned. So, of course, we do have a story to tell, and our name does identify us with a certain story, which is very unique and different from what you would traditionally understand as a story of a law firm engaged in the practice of law.
It certainly seems that way. It certainly seems that way. Also, I mean, you've just encapsulated the 20 years of Hammurabi and Solomon Partners in a few words, but we all know that sometimes work can be tricky, and you think, am I doing the right thing here? Or so what motivates you as a founder of this company not to stop even when things get really difficult?
Well, very early in life, there were certain very essential learnings that I received from my teachers, and I'm very thankful to all of them, is the importance of being excellent, to always never accept mediocrity as a level of working. So therefore, pursuit of excellence, determination, and consistency. These are the three. That's the answer to your what. This is something which I follow. And the fourth thing, of course, I don't have the word impossible in my dictionary. Anything which is impossible to somebody else is the starting point for me to start to solve the problem. Having said that, on now coming to the who, I do have my role models, like most of us would have. The two role models that I would like to name here, there are many more, is Mahatma Gandhi and Mother Teresa. Why? They both have worked in different spheres. We know about their stories, their famous personalities, but limiting it to my sense of how I see them as a role model, both have worked in different spheres, but both have achieved impossibles. Gandhi as well as Mother Teresa, they dreamt the impossible, something which was impossible when they dreamt of a certain future, what they wanted to do. Gandhi starting from South Africa, coming all the way to India as a completely new person to India in that sense. And within his lifetime, becoming the father of the nation, and the whole rest is history. And all the difficulties that he had to go through are unimaginable. Most people could not become a Gandhi because they were never a Gandhi. Only he was a Gandhi who could battle those difficulties. Similarly, Mother Teresa, her initiative from Calcutta to serve the poor and people who did not have means, she just had a goal to do something for humanity. Without resources, without backup, it was just a vision she started with. And therefore, what she signifies is that if you have your goal in the right place, if it has the right value systems, if it's in sync, in accordance with the needs of the future of humankind, everything will fall into place. And in her case, she achieved sainthood. We all are aware of it. So both of these people are role models. And before I, close on this question, the two other important aspects are recognitions like yourselves and many more, and also the continuous encouragement of our clients. I think these two are very important. They are like oxygen and feeders in all difficult times. And I think all this put together, we can battle any difficulty in the world, and we have done so far.
Yeah. Thank you. I have one more and a very brief question, if I may. And I think from what the answers that you've given us to the previous questions contribute much to the answer of this. Do you consider your company regional, national, or international?
Well, I'll keep it brief because it'll be a repetition. I've answered some aspect of it in my presentation also had. We started off as a very small, very humble beginnings. In fact, in a one room, we set up an office in 2001. Our journey has been barely over 2 decades now. We did start off as a national law firm. Very soon, we moved into a regional law firm. We founded the International Legal Advocacy Network, and then now we are a part of many international networks of lawyers. In fact, this entire journey of 20 years, the pace and speed with which we have reached the top 10 top-tier firms of India in a matter of 20 years is completely driven by the pace and needs of our clients. So we have always had to walk in step with them and be there to be a helping hand to enable their business, to be trustees to their business. And therefore, today, I can definitely, from the client's perspective, clientele perspective, or from capability perspective, we are completely an international law firm, and we are looked upon as an international law firm by our clients as well as in India and of course, outside as well.
Manoj Kumar, Honorary Professor of the Academic Union. Thank you very much indeed, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. All the best.
Thank you.